Hi, my name is Nicole Andan and I am the Disabled CEO. So I'm very new to TikTok and I am starting a series charting my experience of building a business as a disabled woman. I became disabled 8 years ago after the birth of my daughter, and I've had a couple of other disabilities that have come along for the ride since. And my career, as I have always had it, has been in the civil service, and they have been fantastic with me, but it is becoming more and more obvious that I need to set out on my own. I'm ambitious. I want to achieve amazing things for both myself and for my family and for my child. But also I want to build something that is sustainable for me long term, because my health conditions are chronic. They are not going to go away, and there is a good chance that they may get worse in the future, and I need to be able to build something for myself and for my family that will allow me to pivot and change around those conditions. So today was my first day. I came on this morning and introduced myself a little bit. I was really nervous about that, to be honest. I don't know why, but I was. So I thought I'd tell you a little bit about what's happened today, and also tell you a little bit about my health conditions and disabilities, what they are and how they affect me. So let's talk about disabilities first. So I have three main disabilities that are problematic. The first one is rheumatoid arthritis. So I developed this when my daughter was 6 weeks old. She's now 8. I woke up one morning and I couldn't move. My husband phoned 111, which in the UK is a sort of, what's the best way of saying it? Like a health advice line if you're from outside the UK. So he phoned 111. They had concerns about sepsis because I'd not long had a baby. Rushed me into hospital. Did a load of tests. Found out that I had rheumatoid arthritis. So rheumatoid arthritis is not arthritis as lots of people hear it. So you will hear people say, oh, you're too young to have arthritis, or did you have an accident? Rheumatoid arthritis is not caused by wear and tear. It's not caused by damage in terms of an accident. It is where your immune system believes that the joints in your body are foreign objects and attacks them, and then causes significant damage to those joints. Some people get rheumatoid arthritis quite mildly. I have quite a severe version, so I started off with it in my hands and shoulders and rib cage. It is now in both my feet, although my right side is worse, both my knees, my hips, both my shoulders, both my elbows, both my wrists, all of my finger joints, my rib cage and my collarbone. I also get it in my jaw. So it's categorised by the joints generally are extremely hot. I don't know if you can see, but they're pretty swollen quite a lot of the time. Hot, swollen, they're quite often red, extremely painful. What goes hand in hand with most autoimmune conditions, to be honest, is fatigue, because your immune system is working really hard all the time. It doesn't switch off, essentially, so it can cause long-term fatigue. That's not something that I had for a really long time. The fatigue probably has only started to really affect me, I'd say, in the last 18 months, since I was diagnosed with a different disability. So in addition to rheumatoid arthritis, I have a thing called Sjögren's syndrome. So Sjögren's syndrome can come on its own, but often is a secondary condition to rheumatoid arthritis. And it has lots of things that go around it, but essentially I can't produce moisture. So I can't cry tears. I can get the emotion, so I can feel sad, but I can't produce tears. I just look a bit like a dick going, so I can't cry. It's my party trick, is that I can't cry. So I have Sjogren's as well. I also have a condition that has come about as a result of the medication that I take in order to manage both rheumatoid arthritis and Sjogren's. So I've been on long-term steroids now for 8 years. That's why I have a nice round face, moon face. It's quite often called. It's not my favourite thing, but it is what it is. It keeps me going. So because of long-term steroid use, I've lost the sight in my left eye. It is hopefully mostly temporary. It's a thing called central serous retinopathy, and it essentially is where there is a fluid build-up in the back of the eye, and it means that I can't see out of a central point in my eye. So all three of those things are annoying, they are frustrating, they are painful, but none of them are life-threatening. Unfortunately, this next one is. So 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago now, I came off of the medication that I was on for rheumatoid arthritis in order to have minor surgery. As I was recovering from minor surgery, my daughter got a cold, and I spent almost a month in and out of hospital as a result. So I'd always had asthma, just bog standard asthma that you use a brown inhaler for during the day as a preventer, and a blue inhaler as and when you need it. Very, very normal, standard, wasn't something to worry about. And then suddenly it was. And I was in and out of A&E quite a lot. I wasn't breathing particularly well. My oxygen levels were really low. It wasn't, even though I was on really high doses of steroids, nothing seemed to be working. And it turns out I had a thing called eosinophilic asthma. And eosinophilic asthma is to do with the white blood cells in your body. I'm still learning about it. I don't really understand it very well. So it's definitely something that if you have, go and do some research around. But the eosinophils in your body are in your white blood cells. And essentially it runs throughout your respiratory system. So my asthma is not just focused on my lungs, it's through my nose, air, windpipe, airways, lungs, everything. So when I have an asthma attack or when I'm struggling to breathe, the standard things that normally are done within an emergency department don't always work for me. So that has been, of all of them, probably the scariest, because obviously I do have a young daughter at home, and no one likes to be told that the thing that they've got is life-threatening, and that, it's not something to mess around with. I have had some real challenges where, unfortunately, in September, I went in with a severe exacerbation of asthma, and was really struggling to breathe, and unfortunately wasn't treated very well in the emergency department. Turned out I had COVID, and they kicked me out of A&E because I couldn't wear a mask, treated me in the car park, and what that meant was that I didn't get the treatment that I needed, and as a result, unfortunately, then over Christmas I've been readmitted into hospital and spent a week in hospital recovering from pneumonia, which I'm still recovering from now. So if you've stuck with me up until now, thanks very much. So that's sort of a short plotted history. I'm a real open book. I'm happy to talk about my conditions and my medication wherever possible, and to talk about the things that have worked for me and the things that haven't. But what I really want to focus on is how I'm trying to build a business around these conditions that is workable for me and for my family. So today is the first day really that my daughter has been back at school and I've been able to do anything. I've sent a couple of emails to catch up on some networking connections that I made before Christmas. I'm trying to do most things by email because breathing, as you can hear, I'm quite often trying to take a deep breath, so talking can be a bit of an issue. I've created some content for LinkedIn and for TikTok. I've spent an hour and a half trying to sort out some medication with my GP. And then I spent 2 hours after that sleeping because I was exhausted. Follow for part 2.